he had just had a rough day.
Oh.
He was just, and I was like, how are you doing? He goes, and immediately that high went right in. I was in the pit with my friend.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And I asked a few follow-up questions to see if there's anything I could do for him. And when he told me there was nothing, I said, okay, well, hang in there, buddy. And I had to physically remove myself.
Yeah.
But because it was fresh in my head, I had just been talking about these temperament types. I was like, going, holy cow, that was just a template.
Yeah.
That's not even me. That
Yeah.
was my temperament.
Mhm.
And as soon as I became aware of it, I was able to pull myself out of the pit.
Yeah.
I couldn't get back to the high I had, but I at least got back to an equilibrium.
Yeah.
I didn't have to be in his pit the rest of the
Yeah.
night. It
You.
wasn't my pit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was able to disassociate, which I
Nice.
needed to do. Cell phone him when he
Yeah.
went into his class. I was just like, oh, Brian.
That's just how he did it. Okay, man, are you ready?
Ready, Freddy.
I mean, we've already been talking. I wanted to ask you, I was trying to think through, okay, I'm going to talk with Fred. What do I want to ask him about? And so I started thinking through, like, how does a philosopher see or experience or process, like, with just what's happening in the world, like culturally, politically,
Can I
whatever.
give you an example?
Wait.
Okay.
But let me give you the whole setup.
Okay.
But then I was like, wait, if they're a philosopher, like this is a little bit of my bias. Maybe they're just not thinking. Well, they're thinking about it, but they're just not bothered by it, you know.
Or we're really bothered by it.
Or you're really bothered by it, which then like led me down the. This is how I want to frame our conversation. Okay, so the unexamined life is not worth living.
Yes.
Some guy said it
Yes. I'm
a while ago.
guy.
Socrates. But like, what does that look like today to live an examined life? Because an unexamined life is almost rewarded. It's almost normal.
How horrifying.
Yeah, but think about it. I just recorded an episode on being like constantly and continually connected. And so when you're constantly
what?
your screen,
Oh, not
social media, not to nature or God or even yourself, but the screen, the constant connection of the internet.
Time to unplug,
Yes,
even though we're using it at the moment.
exactly.
It's a great tool, but like any tool, it can.
Yeah.
You don't want to be the servant of the tool.
But like, how do we, so in line of that, what does the examined life look like? Because we have so many distractions to live an unexamined life. Like that's the norm. I guess it was the norm even when he said it,
Oh, yes.
or he wouldn't have
It
said
always
it.
has been.
But what does that look like today? And then I was going to ask you like your ethical framework for like how you see things in culture, really more the political stuff. Not that this is a political thing, but I'm more interested in like, what does the examined life look like today? I mean, is it the same as when he said it?
I think so.
Okay, but then how do we do it with all the
I
distractions?
don't think humans have changed that. Our technology and tools have changed, but not
Right.
us.
And so we are, and seemingly we're more connected because of social media and the internet and that kind of thing. But the episode that I created today is the social media really disconnects us from ourselves. It disconnects us from God. It disconnects us.
It's again how you use it, I think.
Okay, so walk me through like what is
Let's start with the you remember the Matrix when
okay.
Neo went to see the Oracle?
Mm-hmm.
There was a little plaque up on the wall.
Okay.
And I can't remember what language it was in, but it was a Socrates quote, and it was "Know thyself."
Yeah.
And it's one of the most profound and cruelest things anyone could say to you, because I have spent my lifetime trying to know myself.
Right.
And that could be a whole nother talk, but let me cut it to the end. I came to the conclusion that the self is like the eye. we use the self to perceive all the other selves or things,
Yes, yes, the
but we don't
lotus.
have a vantage point. Like we can't take our eye out to look at our own eye.
Right.
And I think the self's like that too. We're so in the self that we can't get out of the self to see the self. And so, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't try.
Right. I was like, but
And
but
that's
that's
why I think friends and even enemies, they act as mirrors or
right
reverse mirrors
to help us see
reflect
ourselves.
back our qualities, and others show us our vices or our faults. And so it's good to have both.
So you can use social media to look back on yourself.
Oh, yes. You can see your own evolution or where your headspace was at different stages. I'm so thankful we didn't have social media when I was young.
Oh, me too.
Holy
All of the things that would be
my
online.
ragings and discontents and raging against the machine and the man, organized religion. And um, fortunately, I think I'm in a more mature space now. And I'm really intentional about how I use social media.
Yeah, you truly are.
Yeah.
Um,
I want, especially like Facebook, um, and it's coupled with my Instagram page, but I want it to be, I've intentionally made it like a place of sanctuary. So
yeah.
if you are scrolling and you see Fred Blackburn come up, you know it's not going to be some political or theological argument, or it's going to be something beautiful or thought provoking or something I'm pondering. And I'll have those other conversations with people, but not in that format. I Because when I see, and I have such a diverse array of friends from the far left to the far right.
Yep.
Like the Charlie Kirk would be a great example.
Uh-huh.
It took all my self control to not comment,
Yeah.
even though I would have tried to find a very balanced approach to thread that needle. Um, it was too volatile. Both sides were so raw. And when I would see my friends post on the left or right, I was just going, oh, please stop.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's just kind of like, I know we all know what team you're on already. And
Right.
their posts are just like waving their flag on which sides there. And I don't want to be on sides. I want to engage across the spectrum. Not that I don't have strong feelings or beliefs, but that's not the venue, I don't think.
Yeah. Can you walk me through? I mean, you can walk me through your journey, but how do you walk somebody through that journey of learning how to know themselves and examine themselves, even though it's difficult,
I would start with beliefs,
what their beliefs are
right? Because we're all enculturated or indoctrinated
by
in,
certain beliefs?
into a certain worldview or belief system. And that happens culturally, religiously, politically. And education is a huge part of that. Media is a huge part of that. Our friends, family. And so I'm working with my youngest niece on this right now because I told her, I said, you went from my household to your brother's household to
And
your
now you're,
boyfriend's household. And I'm like, you've never really gone through the process of sorting out, like, what do I believe? What is me and what was uncles or what was brothers or what was boyfriends? And I'm really encouraging her is take the time to wrestle with these things and all the things. God, love, faith, purpose. You got to find what you believe because you have to live with you.
right.
And you could change them over the years, but
Yeah.
you need to kind of have a base
A starting point.
so you'll know if you're changing or.
Right. A lot of people just have like their parents' belief system
And
or
as a professor, that was my great joy because they were right at that late teens, early 20s. And I was like, now's the time to, you can still respect your parents' beliefs or things like that. You don't have to just grind them in, but they don't have to be yours, especially if they're not yours.
so you suggest that they write them down or
Sure.
just think about it, like
For some people,
have those
like,
conversations,
yes,
but somehow suss out like this is your belief system, this is
right.
your
And then the follow-up
worldview.
question would be, why do you believe that? And then it will often come back, oh, because my mama said,
Right.
or the Bible said, or
Yeah.
the Buddha said, or And it's just like, well, yeah, but you're not the Buddha, you're not the Bible, you're not your mom.
And then how do you help somebody work through a false fixed idea?
Mm.
You know what I mean? Because one, they have to do the work to figure out what their ideas are. And then, like, sometimes we don't even know that we have a
What would
false
be
fixed
an
idea.
example of a false idea?
Ah, let's
There's
see.
a,
I mean, I can think of like, oh, like personal ones, like I am not good enough, or I am not
oh,
like worthy enough, or
oh, excellent.
yeah, like that's a false fixed idea that like even 50-year-olds are still dealing with, and they
Yes,
don't know that they're dealing with.
all that
But you see it,
negativity,
yeah, yeah.
and it's so destructive.
Right. I mean, and then like there's a lot of scriptures that speak about how we're fearfully, wonderfully made. We
If
are new
someone
creations.
believed in
Right.
God and the Bible,
Yeah.
oh, I would certainly bring up scriptures that
Yeah.
talked
Yeah.
about their very more. But if they didn't, I'd have to find another approach
Yeah.
of even just like their humanity,
Their dignity.
what it
Yeah.
means to be a human
Right.
being, and
Their
to be able to give
creativity.
precious
Their, yeah.
gifts. Yeah.
But how do you help somebody work through that? Like,
Well, it would have to be individualized,
okay. Right.
based
Because we all have our own
right.
belief system and we all have our own
But I did just
upbringing.
read an article this week about apparently those that negative self-talk releases cortisol
Mm,
and the stress
stress.
hormone,
Yeah.
and it has all kinds of negative effects on our physiology. And the positive self-talk releases serotonin,
Okay.
it, like a soothing, a peace, contentment. And even at my stage, I have so much negative talk going. And but first, you have to be aware you're doing it.
Wait, you at your stage, you still
I
wrestle?
still have negative thoughts like pop in my head, like, oh, what a bonehead, or are you really doing this again? Or yeah, you haven't got over this. And I've just, and once I become consciously aware of what I'm doing, then I can stop it. But first, I have to realize I'm doing it. Otherwise, it just keeps jibber jabbing away, making me,
And that's connected to knowing thyself.
well, yeah, and being present and being aware.
But
You got to get present.
man, I get the
It takes
sense
a lot of energy to be
it
present.
really does. Inner work
That's
is
why I can only be
hard.
with people for short,
First,
because I really try to be present when I'm with other people.
yeah,
I try not to be on my phone. I try
yeah,
not to be thinking about what I'm doing next or what I was doing.
hmm
I try to be here now.
yeah.
When
Have
I'm
you
with
always been that way?
myself, no, this
Okay.
is a conscious um, effort I make when I'm with other people.
hmm
It's a lot easier one on one than in groups. Um, I like teaching, trying to be present in the classroom.
Yeah.
Some places it's just natural for me, like when I'm in the forest.
Yeah, I was just gonna
I
ask
don't
you,
have to work at it at all.
like
I'm just being refilled and recharged.
how does hanging out with the trees help you to know yourself? What's that process look
Mm.
like? Do they reflect back to you?
It's tricky because I know I do a lot of projection, and so I'm always trying to distinguish what am I receiving and what am I projecting and bouncing off nature, or in this case, trees, back to myself.
Right.
And and that I can't always discern, but I am aware I am a projector,
hmm
and but I am also aware trees are autonomous and I believe sentient beings in their
hmm
own right. And so I believe there is interaction we can have with them. And that's what I'm in the process of now, is trying to distinguish what's my projection and what is really coming from them.
They're yeah, what they're communicating. That how does it take long for you to get into that meditative state when you're
All I
doing
have to do
this?
is step into the woods back
That's
there.
it? Because you've just done it so much.
I think so.
Because it's not easy for a lot of people,
No,
you know.
no, I don't know.
But so it just takes you a moment. You step into
I
it and
think it
you're
was because I spent so much time on, like, on the Pacific Crest Trail, where you'd be trekking for months at a time. And this weird transformation takes place where you become more comfortable in nature than in town. And I'll never forget this one time we hiked down out of the Sierra Nevada, and we were so excited we were doing a store run, and we bought our snacks and our treats, and we're checking out. And I felt like if you've ever seen like a coyote or wild animal in town, and
Yeah.
just like, that's how I felt because we were used to trees and
Hmm.
brooks and open, and now we're on streets. There's cars whipping by,
Yeah.
5 times faster than I'm moving.
Yeah.
And when we got to the checkout line, she told me how much it was, and I didn't know how to count money anymore. And so I just put the money in my hand and held it out, and she took
What she
3,000.
needed.
And when I walked out of the store, I was like, I've arrived. Money has no more meaning for me. Besides weight, I didn't want any change.
Yeah.
And
Oh man.
it's weird. So I think that experience makes it so now, even though I do live in a town, in a house,
Yeah.
um, when I step into the woods, it's immediate. I'm there.
But that's
I didn't know
years.
then.
That's years of
Right.
practice.
I don't know.
Perhaps you don't know.
No, I don't know if it would take years or not, but
For people to
yeah,
develop this practice.
it's just
Wow.
become such a part of my life. I haven't thought about that in a long time.
Like I think yeah, like I said, I just recorded this thing and I'm like, man, we're just so distracted. We have so many distractions, the phones, the billboards, just so much noise, and getting to that, and one of the things that I wrote at the end as a practice is find 5 minutes. 5 minutes, Fred. 5 minutes is hard for some of us, of stillness and
Really?
quiet. I would say so. I mean, like, yeah, because it's just not a part of our rhythm. It's not a part of, and so when you're distracted so much, when you're constantly like bombarded with
Mm.
noise, it's hard to know yourself. It's hard to examine your life because there's something about being still and quiet where all like the thoughts come in and people hate that. Like people have a hard time with the thoughts that come when when you're still and quiet because it's those thoughts of like I'm not good enough or I'm whatever, I'm not whatever enough or I'm too much, and then like how do I take that moment and become better?
Mm.
That's the work, right? And
Yeah.
it's heavy, emotional, like inner work is just really hard to do. And so that's why we fill our quiet with distractions because we don't want to have to deal with that. So I think that's where I'm coming from.
Oh, no, I get that. And always having the TV on or
Hmm.
music playing, or
Hmm.
you just always have to have that background noise
Yeah.
so you don't get
Enter
left
into,
with your own thoughts.
yeah,
Because that's really scary for some people,
yeah, it is.
but it's important.
It, why is it important?
Well, because that's how you find out who you are by what you're thinking and what's going through your head. And then to identify where are those thoughts coming from? Was that my dad? Was that something I read in the Bible? Was that a pop song I heard?
Hmm.
And often I can identify the voices in my head. I have many, and but I have an overarching voice that I call mine, or
Hmm.
me.
Hmm.
And I think that's what happens with a lot of people, like with multiple personality disorder, things like that.
It gets disassociated.
They don't have a referee or a
Yeah,
overarching
yeah,
voice to say, no, we're not thinking about that no
yeah,
more. You need to be quiet now.
yeah.
And it, I've revisited Carl Jung and have been looking specifically at his shadow
Hmm.
work. And that's really been a workout for me on a whole different level.
Hmm.
And I really agree with him about the part is the shadow. It's not isn't a direct equation to the id and Freud, but there's parallels. And
Hmm.
so he's saying this is it's almost like a reverse mirror of the self we think of, or our conscious self.
Hmm.
And but he says it's a part of us.
Yeah, it's
And
very real.
right. But for most of us, it's still in the subconscious. So the first step is to bring it into the light, no
Mm.
matter how scary or ugly or whatever.
Hmm.
We at
Hmm.
least have to be like, oh, that's part of me.
And that's the stuff that comes up in stillness and
Oh,
quiet.
yes.
But like we are afraid of that.
Yes.
We're afraid of our shadow side.
Yes. Shadows could be scary, but they're not as scary when you bring them into the light, I don't think. And I don't think it equates necessarily to like the Christian concept of the old man or sin nature, however you want to label those. I think it's just the part of ourself that doesn't get to come out and play.
Mhm.
And we've repressed it for whatever reasons, culturally, ethically, socially. And, but we got to find some way to deal with it.
Yeah.
And I don't mean deal with it too. He wants us to incorporate it. I don't know if I'm still wrestling with that because some things I don't want to incorporate. I want to bury.
Right. My understanding of it, oh, we were gonna have this conversation. Like the shadow side is a part of us that's real, and it's there. And so we have our preferences, and this is not our
Right.
preferences. But then kind of the idea is finding that balance and that tension. Because I think we just live too far on the one side that we don't nurture that shadow side. And when you don't nurture it, like it comes and grabs you.
Right.
You know what I'm
Takes us
saying?
out in weird,
Right. And so it's
healthy
still,
ways.
this is still my preference, right?
Right.
And this is not my preference. But if you can shore that up, then it doesn't quite get you, you know? So it's not necessarily burying that shadow side as much as it is like learning how to live in the tension of it.
Maybe it's just saying, hey, I know you're there, but it's really not good for all of us if you get the reins.
Yeah.
You can ride along,
Yeah. You may
but
not,
you don't get to drive.
when I've done the study of my study of it is, so we have our preferences, like, you know, for me, a lot of the Myers-Briggs stuff comes out of that Jungian
Right.
psychology. So I'm an ENT these days, more ENTJ. Yeah, when I was younger, it was an ENTP, but ENTJ these days, right? And so the old man or the shadow side is where the enemy gets you. It's when I'm alone, when I'm in, when I'm sensing, you know what I mean, in that sensual side of things, and when I'm in my feelings, and when spontaneous. That's when the enemy gets you. And the example whenever I teach this in class is Jim Baker, right? He was an ENTJ, extroverted, like truth, like very much like, and where did the enemy get him? When he was alone, centrally in his feelings and spontaneous. You know what I mean? And if you don't shore up that shadow side, like that's where the enemy gets you, or that's where the sin gets you. And so it's not necessarily burying it as much. It's more like you said, acknowledging it and giving it the attention that it needs so that it doesn't come. Because when you starve it of attention, that's when it like gets you. And so when you think about people's sin patterns, when you talk to them about their Myers-Briggs, like it's easy to like, well, here's your sin pattern. You know what I mean? They're like, how do you know this? I don't know this about you. I just know the
These are
tool.
patterns, human patterns.
So yeah, it's not about getting rid of it as much as it is like, how do I integrate it and give it enough attention that it doesn't get me?
So I've been exploring that, and that's given me a whole other level to work on and knowing myself.
Hmm.
And now I'm trying to bring my unconscious into the conscious, and that's a lot of work.
Does that fit your concept of the Johari window?
Yeah, that would be part of maybe lots of other people can see those things about me, and
Yeah.
I'm late to the party.
But in your concept of it, that fourth quadrant where you don't know and people can't see, y- I, does that scare you? Is that a scary thing? It's not a scary thing, right? I think some of it for me was like I used to think like, oh, that's just the scary stuff that like if I knew any of that stuff, I would hate myself. But then I think it's also some of it's developmental. Like I didn't know what it was to be a dad until I had a kid. And that's that quadrant. And when I had a kid, then I started learning what it was to be a dad, which was in that quadrant that nobody knew and I couldn't necessarily see. So I don't necessarily see it all as bad, but
No, I don't either.
and so what's your process of making that unconscious? Unconscious or subconscious? There's a difference. Because I guess you can tap into subconscious. Unconscious, you just don't know.
Can I just say not consciously aware of it?
Yeah, that's a category, right? That doesn't fit those two.
So
But you want to bring that into
yes,
consciousness.
I want to be aware of it.
Oh, and this is where your eyeball thing is. Some people can see that before you can, so that's the help
Right.
that's the mirror that people can be for you in order to move that into your consciousness.
But tell me your Myers-Briggs again.
ENTJ.
So your shadow could be simply I, what's the opposite?
SFP.
Right.
Yeah.
Something that simple. So that's not good or bad. That's
No,
just
it's not. It just is.
the underside of you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's so fascinating.
Yeah.
But it's still part of us.
So I read are you familiar with Robert Mulholland?
Huh.
He wrote a book called Invitation to a Journey, and he has a definition for spiritual formation. It's the process, so it's not instantaneous, of being conformed. There's the outside force that forms you into the image of Christ, self-explanatory, for the sake of others. Like it isn't enough to become more like Christ if you're not doing it for the sake of others. It ain't any good.
Oh,
Because there's a lot of Christians that are like, "Oh, I'm becoming more like Christ," but like the serving others part is just not a part of they're becoming like Christ. And anyway, he uses Jungian psychology to kind of walk through a spiritual disciplines or spiritual formation plan.
yeah.
And so what he says is wholeness or Christ-likeness is being able to shore up some of your shadow side, right? And so um like I was saying, like the shadow side is where the enemy can get you, but then you build spiritual disciplines based off of the shadow side, not necessarily off of your preferences, because you're already good at your preferences. You know what I mean? Like, but what are the spiritual disciplines that help me to shore up the ISFP in my life? And so I just like that category. It just gives me categories to help students or people that I'm working with. Like, hey, these might be some things that you could do to help you know yourself,
Right.
right? And move some of that not conscious things into consciousness by like shoring up these kinds of things. So that's how I like to use it. That's how I studied it.
No, I think that's excellent. And I think Jung, even Freud, a lot of these people, there's a lot we can take and learn, and
Hmm.
even like the Myers-Briggs.
Hmm.
And what I've begun realizing more than anything is these temperament types are like templates
Hmm.
and like scaffolding that we're built around. And so I'm pretty sure I'm an INFJ.
Okay.
And
Yeah. Okay.
the
Let's see.
more
INFJ. Yeah.
the more I've been researching that, I'm just going, wait, what? Because as I'm seeing the patterns of that temperament type, I'm realizing this is like this template that's on top of me. So, for example, it's really high levels of empathy, almost
INF. Yeah.
overwhelming
Yeah.
empathy.
I would say superpower.
It
As
can
someone
be,
that doesn't have
but
it,
it can be crippling
that's
as
true.
well
That's true.
because you're really entering into the other person's
Yeah.
anxiety or
Hmm.
fear or
Hmm.
sorrow or joy. The good part is you can
Yeah.
share their joy or accomplishments,
Right.
just like they're
Yeah.
what's causing them to rest. And I had just got done talking. I got to do a Zoom live class with Rhombus, and
Okay.
it was the one I asked you, but
Yeah.
you were busy, and I was like, well, I'm gonna share what I've been studying, and I was studying the shadow work. I thought I'm no psychologist, but they might get something out of it from a philosophical perspective.
Sure.
And it was such a great class. I was like high, like that teaching high you get
Hmm.
when a class goes really well. And I came downstairs, and my housemate, I could feel the vibrational frequency before I got down the stairs
Oh, yeah.
because there was no reason for me to sit in that
Who
place.
wants to be in that?
No. Now, I want to be able to do that for people,
Hmm.
but that's where as I'm getting older, I'm finally learning to set boundaries. of how long I can sit in someone else's despair.
Finally,
Well, yeah, and I
after
still have
60
voice.
plus years.
Well, you know my life. I have just been an open hand, and I've dealt with them. I call them psychic vampires.
Mm-hmm.
They can sense me a mile away, and
Mm-hmm.
they're just drawn to my
Mm-hmm.
empathy and my giving, and they just want to suck it
Mm-hmm.
out of you. And so I've learned, oh, oh, you little vampire. I mean, I don't call them that, but um, I've learned to protect myself
Yeah. Yeah. That's
without
beautiful.
becoming stingy
Yeah.
or
Or
putting
feeling
up
feeling
walls.
bad about it,
Right.
you
No, I
know?
don't feel bad.
Right. It's
I
just taking
and
care of
I'm kind
yourself.
about it.
Yeah.
I'm not mean. I'm just like, no, I can't. I can't go there with you right now.
What was the impetus to study Jung or get to Jung?
I think I don't know why oh, I know what it was with my chat GBT work.
Okay.
Um, I uploaded my book,
Okay.
and so it had a huge database on
You.
me. Yeah,
Yeah.
because a lot of that was me. It wasn't me playing like I normally
Sure.
teach.
Sure.
And so I asked it. I said, I know this isn't formal, but based on what I've given you, can you guess my Myers-Briggs type? And it said, yes, we can. It was just like you're quite clearly a INFJ.
Yeah.
And I was just like, ooh, I thought so. And so then I began studying that more,
And what that
which
means.
led directly to Jung because he talks a
Right.
lot about,
Right. Well, it's based off of his stuff.
oh, the Myers-Briggs came from him.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
didn't even
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah. It's based off of
Okay, so that makes sense.
Jungian psychology.
And I'm more familiar with being a philosopher with Hippocrates, the cleric, phlegmatic,
Yeah. Yeah.
sanguine, melancholy.
Yeah.
But Myers-Briggs, it's similar, but it's more nuanced because it breaks it down into 16 instead of 4.
Yeah.
So you get more subtleties.
Are you familiar with what each dyad like measures or stands for? So the E and I is for how you,
Extrovert, introvert, right?
but it's for how you energize.
Oh,
So,
okay.
so an extrovert like me, energized by being around people. Introverts energized by being alone. S and N have to do with how you learned. So S's are senses. So they learn with their hands by looking or, orally, so they learn through the senses. And then N's are intuitive. That's you.
I mean, I love
But
sense
yeah,
learning,
yeah.
but
Right. Your preference though for learning is N and
yeah,
others are S. T and F have to do with how you make decisions. So T's make decisions based off of, their, you know, positive and negative lists. You know what I mean? Feelers make their decisions based off of,
sure.
oh, I like this.
And I'll
This makes me
make
feel
those
good.
lists,
Exactly.
but when it
So it doesn't,
comes down to pulling the trigger,
right.
it's how,
It's the feeling. And then J and P have to do with how you order your world. So P's possibilities, spontaneous. J's judging has to ordered. Like everything has to, you know,
that's
line
where
up.
I'm on right on the fence between those two. It's so
Okay.
interesting.
So,
I can toggle that last one.
so, Mulholland says like wholeness. If you can get to the place in your life where you can be extroverted and introverted and choose when to be, or learn by using your senses or being intuitive, if you can get close to the middle and be both, then you have that full expression of it all. You know what I mean?
It's the same with the Hippocratic thing.
Yeah.
It's if you can begin to incorporate these other
Yeah.
temperament strengths
Yeah.
and learn to mitigate or minimize the weaknesses, it makes you a much more holistic person. You can kind of move through
Yeah.
the wheel
Right.
and you're
And
not
it,
just stuck in
but
the.
it helps you to then be with other people, that be present with other people, you know? Yeah, I'm definitely at NT for sure, you know? And NFs, I love NFs. NFs use like end of the world language, or like that was the best burrito in the world, and I just love it. Oh, you really hit it out of the park. That was amazing. Like it was the only thing happening at the moment. NTs tend to be more like, nope, you're wrong.
Yeah, that makes me laugh.
And without a care, you know what I mean?
But I love that I'm finally becoming consciously aware that it's a template, but it's not necessarily me.
Yeah, you're not stuck to it. It's just a tool to help us.
But I just default into it if I'm not aware. If I'm aware, I can make choices.
Yeah. And then you can help others.
Yeah.
Well, my friend, that was really good. I got
Just
that.
another coffee chit chat.
Just another conversation. Thanks again for having this conversation. I'm sure like in another couple months we'll do this again. So awesome. But thank you for sharing.
Yeah.